Hey guys, welcome back to another review. So far, I've reviewed a few budget games like a budget Half-Life or budget Zelda, but in this video, we're going to be checking out a budget Hitman game called The Slater. I randomly got a coupon on Steam for this game and I thought it looked pretty good. This looks like one of the better budget games I've reviewed so far. Well, is it worth your time, even if you've played the Hitman games? I'll get into all of that and more right after we check out today's sponsor. You've heard me talk about them on the channel before. We're checking out TheColdestWater. And here's the question for today's video sponsor. Do you like coffee? I know I'm not the only coffee addict around. On top of TheColdestWater having these great water bottles, they also have high quality coffee cups as well as coffee. If you drink coffee often like I do, then you have to have a good quality coffee cup and look no further than with TheColdestWater. Of course, they're more known for how long their bottles can stay cold, but starting off with this 10-ounce coffee mug, this bad boy stays hot for over 8 hours, but if that isn't enough for you, then check out the bigger 24-ounce mug. Even if those aren't your style, then we still have the tumbler coffee cup with no handle. This one holds 20 ounces and is really high quality, staying hot for over 20 hours. You can even have the smaller version, so there's a nice amount of variety, as well as picking a color that you like. Now we can't talk about all this without mentioning the coffee itself. TheColdestWater sells this very good looking dark roasted coffee. You could stock up on a full pound like a normal coffee addict, or you can get a sample size just to try it out. If coffee isn't even your thing, then be sure to check out TheColdestWater's classic water bottles. Either way, you can find all of these items down in the description below. Be sure to check those first two links if you're interested, and to use my code so you can get a discount and to support me. I hope all the coffee addicts like me enjoyed this one, but let's get back to the video. So, I have a confession to make before I start this review. I don't normally play stealth games. I've never played Dishonored, I've never played Splinter Cell, I have played Thief 2014 if you even consider that a real thief game, but most importantly, I've never played Hitman. I know that's blasphemy to all you stealth game fans, but hey, stealth games stress me out, and I thought it would be a little interesting to see a stealth game review from a mostly non-stealth player. But hey, don't get me wrong, I think stealth missions can be cool and all, but mostly as variety. Very rarely I'll want stealth within the entire game. So you might be surprised to hear me say that I did mostly enjoy the Slater. I'm sure a lot of you can see where this game is going, even based off the little gameplay I've shown you, because it's basically a budget Hitman. And I'd say there's a hint of Max Payne in the story as well. I'm gonna try to say as little as possible while giving a brief explanation of the story. So there's this drug called D-Pain, and there's this gang that profits off of it, right? One of these gang members kills one of your relatives, and it's basically a revenge story with drugs, gangs, cops, revenge, pain, and all that kind of stuff. I'm normally not a story kind of person, but this one was pretty cool. I liked the vibe and it was simple enough. It's just that the biggest thing taking away from the serious story was the animations, specifically the faces. I don't fault things like the presentation too much because this is an indie game, but other than the faces, I actually thought the graphics and presentation were pretty good. I noticed some attention to detail, and I heard people say this game is like the old Hitman games, you know, in a budget way, so I'm sure there's some to appreciate there. And also talking about the gameplay and what you do, I'm sure it's very similar and like a basic version of the old Hitman games. It's pretty much what you would expect from an action stealth game. You start off with a backstory and objective, you start off with some equipment, in this case a silenced pistol, and then you go about your day and sneakily complete your objective by probably killing someone or stealing something. That's basically it on a surface level. There's 6 levels in total, and I actually thought the levels were one of the best parts of the game. I'm sorry I can't show you much of the strip club level, but it was really cool just exploring these large areas and buildings. This is one of the things that kinda tells me this is a genuine inspiration from the old Hitman games, even if it's not executed perfectly. It just feels like there's a lot of time and care put into these levels, along with the NPCs inside of them. The NPCs usually have a pattern with how they move or where they go, and it can be fun memorizing things like when and where to take out certain people. These are the parts of stealth games that I could get behind. I'm also glad there were only 6 levels that got bigger and more in depth with each level. I would prefer this over 10 or 20 mediocre levels. I'm also a newer player to stealth games, so it made the game feel better and easier when it came to the progression. And speaking of making this game easier to play, I have another confession. I had to look up YouTube videos to finish some levels. Yeah, I know, I suck and I'm a noob. I'm waiting for someone to understandably comment that, but please hear me out. I already told you that I think stealth games are a little spooky, and I also didn't want to lose any progress once I made it far enough into a level. This game is a little on the bare bones and old school side of things with having no checkpoints, no saving, none of that. You just have to beat a level one at a time, and if you die, you have to start the level over. Each level can take 20 to 40 minutes depending on how you play. You obviously heard me admit on how much I suck and that I have to look up some levels, so it didn't take me that long. But to be fair, I didn't have to look up like 2 levels, so yeah. I also played on normal difficulty, and it felt balanced enough for me. One thing that might not feel balanced, but I understand why it's like this, is how you die in like one shot. They clearly didn't want you to take the fast and loud approach. You're pretty much forced to stealth throughout all of these levels, which I don't mind. It makes it feel like there's a major consequence for messing up, and luckily it didn't feel like I got spotted too easily or anything like that. Maybe that's the case on harder difficulties, but thank God this game felt fair in that sense, or else this game would have just been annoying and just suck. But since it felt like there was a big consequence for doing something wrong, that probably fed into me looking up certain levels. What I mostly did was explore the level, look at my objectives and surroundings, then I would attempt a level. The game can be pretty linear when it comes to the objectives and where NPCs go. Like, there's only a couple ways to play a level, even if that. But if you don't look up the levels like me, I'm sure some of you stealth fans would enjoy figuring everything out within a level. The Slater only took me about 4 hours to complete, but I imagine it would take longer if you legitimately play the game from start to finish. Either way, this game is only $10 and even cheaper on sale. There's also achievements if you care about that sort of thing, and some of them could be really fun to go for. Listen, I know some people will have a negative view on this game if you've played the Hitman games before, but I think you need to look at this game in a more positive and charming way than that. This game was seemingly made by one person, and this is their only game, so they're probably a big fan of the older Hitman games and was inspired to make their own Hitman-like game. I've played plenty of games that are a free or cheaper version of an already established game, and I do think there is a right and wrong way of doing it. Overall, I'd say the Slater's doing it the right way. But yeah guys, that's about everything I wanted to say on the Slater. I don't usually play stealth games, but I did mostly enjoy my time on this one. I also left a few things to be desired, like the strip club level, because I'm sure YouTube wouldn't like that, even though it was one of the best levels in my opinion, and I left out many parts of the story because that's something you should experience yourself. I feel like I'm forgetting to mention a couple things that are stealth related because I don't normally review stealth games. Like how you need to enter certain restricted areas and how it could be cool to figure out puzzles regarding certain items and NPCs. Yeah, probably random stealth stuff like that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review from a mostly non-stealth player. Please leave a like if you did enjoy the review or just thought this game was cool. There's a link down in the description if you want to check it out yourself. Drop a comment telling me what you thought about the game, or maybe tell me what your favorite Hitman game is. I'd like to learn more about that series. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to discover interesting games or if you've just been enjoying the content. Check on the screen for my other budget game reviews. I think I'm going to make a playlist and series out of these budget games. Sounds like a fun and good idea. And thank you guys so much for watching the entire video. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Peace.